Who are you going to call when your 6-ton logging machine breaks down? Find out in the forest at 8 tonight here on BBC Two, after we cue the snooker.
Hello, a very good evening to you and welcome to the first evening session of the 2018 Betfred World Snooker Championship from the Crucible Theatre here in Sheffield, one of the great sporting venues. Tonight we'll see the conclusion of the first round match between world number one Mark Selby and Joe Perry. As is the tradition here at the Crucible Theatre, the defending champion gets things underway in the morning, and it hasn't gone to plan for Mark Selby.
Always great to see the opening shot in the World Championship, and it's the defending champion who's going to get this match underway. It should be a cracker.
That's excellent. Great shot.
He takes the opening frame and leads Mark Selby 1-0.
Held his nerve and leads the defending champion Mark Selby by 2 frames to 0.
What was that? An unbelievable scoreline, it has to be said. The defending champion yet to get a frame on the board. Joe Perry leads 4 frames to 0. Who would have thought it?
Shot. And he gets another frame on the board. The comeback continues.
That was an important visit for Joe Perry. He's back on track and now leads the defending champion by 5 frames to 2. Ton up for Joe Perry. What a performance from gentleman Joe Perry. He leads the defending champion Mark Selby by the scoreline of 7 frames to 2. The world champion's got a lot to do this evening.
He certainly has an awful lot to do. Let's talk to Steve Davis, who's alongside me. Steve, a very good evening to you. Mark Selby has it all to do tonight. Could you believe what you were seeing this morning?
Well, we could always believe what happens on the snooker table if you don't get off the ground fast enough. And he was caught cold. He looked a bit lacklustre. But I think perhaps Joe Perry had 3 qualifying matches and all of a sudden looked the sharper of the 2. You expected a bit of a fight back, but Joe Perry was up to the job. 7-2 is a massive scoreline to overcome. Mark Selby has on many occasions done some monumental recoveries in the World Championship, but on day one, when he's been caught cold, and it's not like the tournament's even started, it's going to be a tough one.
And Mark is coming into the Crucible with a bit of confidence, having won the China Open, has had this neck injury, but he has to create a little bit of history tonight because no defending champion has had to haul it back from this deficit.
Yeah, and any confidence he got from the China Open would have been evaporated now because he's just got to come out, try and play to a better standard, just try and play the balls as they come along. But he also needs some help from Joe Perry. He needs Joe Perry to balk at the finishing line. And so far, Joe Perry's shown he's been strong.
We are going to talk about Ronnie O'Sullivan in just a moment, because just take a look at this, because it's not just Mark Selby who's having a tough time on day one, but the Rocket also has big problems. 6-3 behind against Stephen Maguire after their first session. Like Selby, lost the opening 4 frames against his Scottish opponent, compiling a high break of just 27, had a 3-frame burst in 17 minutes after the mid-session, including back-to-back centuries, allowing O'Sullivan to pull within 1. But Maguire then took the next 2. He has a 3-frame advantage, and they play to a finish from 10 o'clock tomorrow, and that is live on BBC Two. That's our first show tomorrow. So let's bring you right up today. Joe Perry needing just 3 frames to book his place in the second round. Louis is in front against Marco Fu. He leads 6-3 after their first session. Matthew Stevens, a finalist in 2000 and 2005, 7-2 down against Kyron Wilson. And there, Stephen Maguire, 6-3 up against Ronnie O'Sullivan. Steve, can you believe this? Here we are, day one. Possibly day 2, we could lose Mark Selby and Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Yeah, and I thought that one of those players was probably going to win the event. I mean, it's not you never know what's going to happen. Every individual session at snooker can change. It's much more achievable for Ronnie O'Sullivan 6-3 behind than 7-2. It seems like there's a big difference in that. It's only 1 frame at the end of the session, but Ronnie O'Sullivan, as we know, can blast off frames. But I worry for a bit for Mark Selby because that's a tough one to overhaul.
OK, so I know it's day 1, and I know I'm asking you to do this very early on, and we've got a long way to go. But are we going to look at a World Championship where we've lost Mark Selby and Ronnie O'Sullivan after just 2 days, Steve?
Very possible, and I think because of the qualifying section where the players play 3 matches to get here, they are very, very sharp. The question mark may be how many of the top seeds are going to get bundled out in the first round. That best of 19 seems quite short if it goes wrong.
Just take a look at these pictures. He looks very apprehensive, doesn't he, Mark Selby, standing there?
Yeah, I would think in a way probably there's less chance that he will be on tenterhooks now. I think he knows the job in hand. He'd probably be a bit calmer tonight, and he's just going to go out and play, trying to make it hard for Joe Perry to get over the winning line. So you'd expect him to grind away tonight. But if anybody can, this guy can, because he's got great resolve.
He's looking up to the skies thinking, are they going to stop chatting? Can I get out there and do the job?
I think so, yes.
Here we go then. Let's join Rob Walker.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the climax of day 1 here at the Betfred World Snooker Championship. By the end of tonight, we'll know the identity of the first player through to the last 16. Top quality drama right from the very start, once again, here in Sheffield. Please welcome, first of all, a player who has enjoyed his finest moments here at the Crucible. 3 times a World Championship finalist, took the big one in 06. Runner-up in this season's German Masters and in fine fettle at the qualifiers. He is Scotland's pocket dynamo, Graham Dott. And his opponent, returning for a 16th Crucible campaign, twice a runner-up in 08 and 2012, winner of 4 ranking event titles, including the German Masters and the Welsh Open. Here comes the captain, Ali Carter. And on table 1, please welcome back a player who drew on all those years of Crucible experience to produce a brilliant start against the defending champion this morning. Former Players' Championship winner and World Championship semi-finalist in 08. Bidding for a 9th appearance in the second round. From Cambridge, here comes the gentleman, Joe Perry. And his opponent, a player whose mental strength is one of his greatest assets, both on and off the snooker table. Winner of 3 of the last 4 world titles, and he will be ready to show all that class tonight. Winner of this month's China Open, he is, of course, the current world #1 and the defending world champion. He is the jester from Leicester, Mark Selby.
So what a second session we have in prospect. This is our live match on BBC Two. Mark Selby against Joe Perry. If you want table 2, Ali Carter taking on Graham Dott. That's available on the red button, the BBC Sport app, and also available online. But now it's all about Mark Selby and Joe Perry in the company of Stephen Hendry. And good evening, Dennis Taylor.
Yes, a very good evening, Jason. A very good evening to everyone watching. And Joe Perry gets this second session underway. And not a bad length for the break-off shot. Well, if anyone can claw it back, Joe knows that Mark Selby's quite capable of doing it, but he had a very poor start, losing all 4 frames. Looked great for 2 frames with breaks of 74 and 92. But he wasn't playing anywhere near the way he played in China, that's for sure.
Yeah, that China Open win apart, the last 3 or 4 months he's been very poor, Mark Selby, it has to be said. And this morning was back to that, the way of playing. And with a 7-2 lead, if it was perhaps a crucible debutant, you could think maybe he might get scared of the winning line, but Joe Perry's such an experienced player.
Yeah, what Mark did do in the first session was he started refusing sort of half chances that he normally would take on. It was as if he was trying to grind some sort of result out, and he didn't get it after getting back to just 4-2 behind. So it'll be interesting to see how he attacks this game this evening. Well, that'll help him if Joe's going to miss shots like that. The Brown may have come to his rescue for the one over the pocket, but there's one to the right that's available. This looked a pretty straightforward pot.
Yeah, obviously this little mini session, Joe Perry could obviously mathematically win the match before the interval, but there's 4 frames, and obviously Mark Selby would like all 4, but 3-1. Would keep the match very much alive. There's pressure on this.
I was just thinking the same thing, Stephen. He can't see the other dead straight, must deliver the cue in a straight line here. And he didn't. Yeah, he's just been lacking in a bit of confidence so far in this match.
And this is the last thing that Mark Selby wanted, was Joe Perry getting in first in this first frame of the evening session. And his job was to keep Joe as quiet as possible, as cold as possible, for as long as possible.
8.
Only just. It was just the pace. Just caught the right jaw of the pocket, but any harder that would have hit the other jaw and come away from the pocket. I mean, Joe was superb in the first session. He had breaks of 52, 56, 63, 41 to 59 in the 7th frame, then finished with a break of 84 and then a century. So it doesn't matter who you're playing, if you're knocking those sort of breaks in, you're going to win.
Yeah, he's been in the 90s. He was up as far as 95% at one stage, yeah, Joe Perry. And there's still a few reds available. The one at the back of the bunch, he played to get on that a few shots ago and had to take the more difficult one into the middle pocket, but it's a good chance here to compile a sizable break.
I think I'd be looking for a nice angle on yellow here. He's just let the cue ball travel.
21.
May still have an angle to go into the bunch of one cushion, touch a left-hand side. Now, because he didn't have the ideal angle on the yellow, he couldn't generate the pace
23.
on the cue ball to really open the reds. It was a decent shot. Could have done without flicking the pink.
Thanks. Joe Perry, 23.
Joe Perry is also, I believe, one of the best safety players in the game, and that is going to make Mark Selby's job even more difficult, coming back from 7-2 down.
Not a great deal to go at there.
Make sure your phones are on silent, please.
Very, very tight as to whether... Well, it looks as if he can get past the blue to hit this red thin. That's what he's after. You've got the perfect picture there to see if he can hit it thin enough to get back up to the safety area. And the other thing with the first session, Mark Selby, who's usually an impeccable tactical and safety player, was all at sea in the first session. He played some very poor safety shots.
That may just work in Mark Selby's favour. The fact he hasn't got the cue ball back. He may force Joe into taking a pot on here, has he? No, he's able to play the safety. And again, it's a pretty good one. It's very difficult to come back from a long way behind against a player who plays such a good match game. If you're playing someone that likes to go for their shots and you know you're going to get chances, it's not quite so bad.
And that's the sort of thing he has been doing throughout the match. Very unlike him to make such a mess of some of his safety shots. But what a golden opportunity for Joe Perry here. 23 in front, and look at the way the balls are situated.
One. 6. Seven.
Been very fluent, Joe. Look at the average shot time, 20 seconds. I like his style around the table. He's very measured, doesn't dash around the table, but he's a fairly quick player.
14.
Having said that, and a terrific stance, everything good about his game.
15. $22. 23. $30. Thanks. 31.
Yeah. Catching the red too thin. Was playing to catch the red side cushion, top cushion, and bring the cue ball back up to the bulk area, but well,
38.
body language doesn't inspire confidence of a comeback, I must admit.
$39.
Well, can you believe it? He only needed the black to leave Mark
Joe
needing
Perry,
a snooker.
39.
Mark did that early on. He jumped over a brown. Similar type of shot to that. What a time to miscue.
I was just going to say, Dennis, as well, as a factor of the way he plays, he always addresses the cue ball very, very low. And if you don't go through smoothly, that's what happens.
Well, fortunately for Joe, he hasn't left an easy chance for Mark Selby.
Well, Steve did mention before that Mark Selby will need help from his opponent. If he's somehow able to win this first frame after that miscue, it would be a massive help.
That's not bad. He may have left a possible pot, but knocking the yellow near the cushion will be to Joe's advantage. Because before that yellow was knocked off its spot into a safer position, everything was in the open. I don't think he can get past the brown to take that red on that's to the right of the pink.
There's no attempt at the pot there because 62-0 down. He needs high value colours. There's no point in potting that red.
Well, this would be a nice one to knock in here. He only needs the one red, and the reds that are near the pink spot. The back one, I think, will cut. And there it is. That is a classic shot to nothing. It's a shot to nothing that's going to win him the frame, you'd have to say. But look where he'd put the white had he had missed the red.
Joe Perry won.
So 59 remaining and 63 in front. Snooker needed. Couldn't do a great deal with that, so one good pot into the left middle pocket, and it's 8-2. Yeah, cueing well. Sign of a confident player.
Bramble. Joe Perry
Just
one.
pushing
And
the
Frank.
brown safe, and Mark stays in his seat.
It's not the start the defending champion was after. Joe Perry takes this opening frame and extends his lead.
He's now 8-2 in front.
Well, this is just amazing. What a story we have here on day one here at the Crucible Theatre in Sheffield. The defending champion up against it. Looks like he's going out, Steve.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? And it looks like he's reverted to being a mere mortal at the Crucible Theatre. We got so used to seeing Mark Selby put in superhuman performances, and well, can't always do it. And you know, perhaps over the period of time that he's been world champion, world number one, somewhere down the line, you've got to show some weakness.
And as Dennis says there, Joe is cueing ever so well. But what is the problem with Mark Selby? Just take a look at this.
Well, I think he's just flat. You know, this was a missable shot. You know, it's early in the start of the session, but we're so used to seeing the top players get them that when they do miss it, it sort of like looks like a shock. But you know, he's just had a bad day today. It started off bad, and it's not really got going. And snooker and any other table ball sport is quite unusual in as much as
Frame 11.
you don't get equal time. If you're looking
Mark
at golf
Selby.
or darts or bowls or any other types of games, usually you get equal opportunities. But if you're kept off the table long enough and you're not feeling confident, then the hole becomes bigger.
Yep. Just 2 frames needed. Joe Perry about to cause a massive crucible shock on day one. Back to Dennis and Steve.
Yeah, Dennis and I were watching the two players, and Mark Selby was actually having a joke with Joe Perry, which is very unusual. 8-2 down, defending your world title. Maybe it's a bit of gamesmanship, Dennis, trying to relax Joe a bit.
Well, the crowd are trying to give Mark Selby a bit of a lift here.
As long as Mark can try and keep Joe Perry needing 2 frames, he's got a little bit of
3.
margin for error, a little bit of room to manoeuvre. But really, he's just got to start winning. He's got to get a bit of momentum.
Thanks. 4.
Again, that's not ideal. No guarantee here really where the cue ball's going to end up. Well played. In the end, played it quite tentatively, but nice touch. Needs to get back to the form of frame 5 and 6 when he won the frames in one score and visit. He desperately needs to start doing that to put pressure on his opponent. In between green and brown, right hand side.
17.
These are just the types of things that you never see Mark Selby do. Normally, make contact with the baulk colour. And that's a shocker.
Mark Selby, 17.
Yeah, it's amazing how many safety errors he has made in this match. This time he hasn't left anything, but it's an easy safety shot for Joe Perry. I think Mark Selby's going to lose his nickname, Stephen. I christened him Sat-Nav Selby because he knows his way around the table so well with the angles and safeties, but he certainly hasn't been pulling them off today. What's going to happen here with this kiss? As he...
Well, Joe Perry, the red that's below the black on the cushion, if he plays that onto the red over the pocket and plays with a touch of right hand side, he can flick the other red away from the black. He might choose to play the cue ball up in the baulk end, but I think play the little cannon. He's played it. Good shot.
1.
And he was quite pleased the other red didn't drop in as well, because it's easy now to get back onto the black from
8.
this position.
9.
And he can go into the bunch if he wishes here. A couple of loose reds, but might not get a better angle than this, but it's not a good bunch to go into. Got to be a bit careful if he plays the cannon. Well, he's got one to the left middle and he can play up for the blue, so there's no real
16.
pressure on this one. Got the long straight one up into the corner, the one to the left of the pink, but you'd think the easier pot was the one into the left middle and leave yourself nicely on the blue and then back up to the reds. And that's what he's looking at. As long as he doesn't leave himself straight on that blue.
$17.
Just passing the 3 hours for this match. Now, how's your luck, Joe? Okay. Any kiss on that red,
22.
he was going to be on a choice of pots.
$23. $30.
Well, is he on anything? Does the red go past the pink to the middle? Thought he would have played it by now if he was on it, I think. Yeah, looking at the safety shot. So a little bit unlucky. A reprieve for Mark Selby. This is where Joe Perry's very clever. Doesn't just play the cue ball up anywhere in the baulk cushion. He's always looking for the most awkward spot.
Joe Perry, 30.
Mark Selby's got a pretty comfortable containing safety shot. The red to the near the left cushion, just play that up and down. Cue ball on the black cushion. Just looking at the pawn angle. Maybe this is... what a shot, what a shot. I really thought it was worth the risk because there wasn't even any other reds. Possibly a red to the far right corner, but it's obvious Dennis, he's choosing to go all out attack.
Yeah, I think that's what he's got to do now, Stephen. He was a bit tentative in the first session, but his back is right against the wall now.
Well, it would give him a massive boost of confidence
8.
if he was to win this frame at this visit after potting that long red. And if he misses it, every
9.
chance is 9-2 behind.
$15. $16.
He had to play that with lots of right hand and topspin to get that side of the blue there. Doesn't have to play any cannons. They will all clear each other,
21.
these reds.
$22. $29. $30. $37. $38.
Oh, he's just let that cue ball run an extra couple of inches.
$43.
So red and pink or black to leave Joe Perry needing a snooker.
$44.
After that excellent opening long red, it looks like Mark Selby. He's going to win a very important frame. Every frame's important. He's just got to take one at a time, but somehow he's got to try
51.
and gather a bit of momentum.
$52.
Going to somehow try and put some doubt into his opponent's mind.
57. $59.
Definitely worth another look. This was a fabulous long pot he took on. Deserves everything he's
62.
got from that terrific shot. Coming just at the right time. He's still got an awful lot to do.
66.
But if he can get to the mid-session interval,
71.
8-4, he's still in with a chance. You always feel, as long as your opponent needs 2 frames, you always feel you've got a chance.
77.
Well, Joe Perry told him anything about that.
Mark Selby.
He thought it was reasonably safe. Mark Selby knocked in that fabulous red and clinched the frame with that break of 84. He's got 1 back, but he still trails 8-3.
Yes, still a long way to go. By the way, these ticket holders here at the Crucible Theatre may be in for a long evening. I'm sure they'll look forward to that. But I suppose if he is going to haul himself back into this match, this is what defending champions and world title champions have to do.
Yes, and you wouldn't expect him to sort of throw the towel in at all. And there's less pressure on him as we speak. He sort of can play with a bit more freedom. He's not worried about how he's looking at the moment. He's just going to play frame at a time. But he now needs to hope that his opponent, Joe Perry, will balk at the finishing line. And that he needs him to actually start to collapse. And he hasn't shown that yet, Joe. So, therefore, it's got to happen for Mark now. Joe's got to start missing, looking what's going to happen if he wins the match, how it's going to be. If things are going through your mind, you don't want to think about the press conference. All stuff like that can go through your mind. And that's what he has to hope for.
Yeah, at which point, when you look at the scoreboard now, at which point does Joe start looking over his shoulder, Steve?
Well, if it's going to happen, it could start happening now. You know, he won that frame to go 8 frames, and it could be happening now. But you have to start and see what he's like in amongst the balls in easier positions, whether he starts to just look over his shoulder somewhat.
OK, let's get back out to the action, back to Dennis and Steve.
Thank you. Frame 12. Joe Perry to break.
I think what Mark Selby's definitely got to do to put pressure on Joe Perry's win frames like the last frame, 1 visit. That's what's really going to put it on your opponent. Okay, if you win scrappy frames, fair enough, but it's not really putting doubt in your opponent's mind. You win them in 1 visit, your opponent thinks, oh, well, he's starting to play well again.
That's the first loose safety from Joe Perry. Never hit that one hard enough. He's been finding the ball cushion with his safety. This time he's come up a long way short and has left one for the right corner. Didn't want that kiss.
1.
Slightly more difficult blue now, but he's in stroke, as he showed with that terrific break in the last frame.
Six. Seven.
He's just looking to see where the pink will go. It looks as if there's a red on its spot, so it'll have to go behind the reds and put it out of commission. And the black's not ideally placed with that red next to it. Just tried to clear the pink spot area there, but didn't quite manage it. He's still okay though. He can play it up for the blue off this red to the right corner. But it's not a good chance just yet.
Okay. 30.
That was a pretty good shot. Not straightforward cue in there. Looking to see if it's possible to get on the red that's just to the left of the black, to the left corner. He'd love to get that red away from there. At the moment it's just awkward, this chance.
Yeah, and if he can't do that, he's got other options. He can just he's straight on the red, it's back for the blue again, and then it might be worth, well, he hasn't got a good angle to get back for the blue. Yeah, it was never going to be easy to get the correct side of the blue there, so now he's got to negotiate the yellow, brown and green there. Looking at that angle, it would be between the yellow and brown. I don't think he can get enough screw to go between green and brown. So an important shot coming up here.
Well, what result this would be if he flicks the black. Oh, just ran past it.
25.
It was almost, well, probably the best positional shot of the championship so far. If he got a contact on the black there, that would have opened everything up. That would have left the red to the left corner. You see loads of left-hand side. Watch it come off this cushion. If he gets a full ball contact on the black here, it's absolutely perfect.
Mark Selby, 25.
maybe just a couple of signs. Okay, that was a tough shot, but again, having to play this with a lot of right-hand side.
One.
Starting to strike the cue ball a lot better, Mark Selby. I think that last frame, winning that in one visit, has given him a bit of confidence, a bit of belief. Looks to be timing it very well now.
6. 7.
He's back looking at that red to the left of the black. If he could pop the yellow and somehow cannon that. He's got the option of cannoning into the 2 reds next to the pink, but he'd like to get on the one that's to the left of the black. If he could just move it. Here comes the cue ball, or even the black, depending, but he's there might be one cuttable into the left corner here. That's the one. Wow.
Mark Selby, 9.
What about that for a nice fluke? Didn't hit it very well, but it went in off the other red. Look, have a look at this. You could stand there all day and not pull that shot off. How many is he going to make from that? Bit of good fortune. Not easy to score the way the balls are situated.
Green ball. Four.
This could have been easier. Has to screw back for the blue here.
Joe Perry, 4.
And normally the wobble and come away from the pocket.
One.
Nice angle in the blue. Can play any shot he wants here. The 2 reds near the left corner. Cannon one of those or go into the 2 reds and pink.
Six.
A long way off.
This side, Mark. Thank you. Mark Selby, 6.
Well, even though Joe's leading 8 frames to 3, he's just getting a little edgy here. He knows if he can get to 9 that there'd be no way back, and maybe that's just put that little bit of added pressure on him, because he wasn't missing those in the first session, that's for sure.
One. Six. Mark Selby, 6.
And a 42-point advantage with the ball sitting like this certainly make Mark Selby a strong favourite for this frame, but they can soon get moved around the balls. Doesn't fancy playing the little thin one. He's just going to nestle onto this red here off the side cushion. He's come a bit too narrow.
Foul and a miss. Mark Selby, 4.
Yeah, he doesn't fancy that one along the cushion. There's no easy position available, so having it put back. But he's in a strong position, as I said, with the balls like this.
So we are out of time here on BBC Two, but you can continue to watch the drama unfold now by pressing the red button. And both matches, a reminder, on table 2, it's Ali Carter taking on the 2006 world champion Graham Dodd. Both those matches are available on the BBC Sport app and the BBC Sport website. So that's it from us. Thank you very much indeed to Steve Davis, and I'll be back at 5 past midnight, rounding up all the action from day 1 here at the Crucible. Bye for now.
Hoping to stage a